Hey everyone, it's Kai from WCC again, and today we're going back to the wonderful world of Standard as Heroic Evolution is coming out. Apart from Force 2 absolutely powering up Bermuda to the point where it's a definitive Tier 1 deck all by itself, there's actually some other pretty cool cards being released as well that we can talk about. One of them being the Messiah archetype being released into Standard. Now with the new cards, I'm looking forward to be playing Deletor Messiah. You might have heard of Deletor Messiah being a premium deck, but now we can use the Deletor cards in Standard to cover the weaknesses of the new Messiah cards, namely their huge reliance on Soul to use their strong effects. Before we talk about how the deck plays, let's talk about the cards themselves. For starters, we're earning 7 crit and 5 draw. This is easily changeable. For most decks, going anywhere between 6-6 to 8-4 is pretty much his preference. We're running the Lucci starter because you can make your opponent think you're playing Brant, but it's really all up to you. Run anything you want, anything that looks nice. Grade 1, we're running Destiny Dealer. This card is one of the most amazingly Joker cards released in Standard up to now. Calderon Wing for the counter charge, and Drown. Drown is really nice in this deck because it helps fuel Soul, it counts as removal, and also helps offset the cost of deletes. And at worst, it's just an AK body. For grade 2, we're running pretty much just all new cards. We're running a playset of Blast Monk of the Thundering Foot. This is a great removal card, but also a really nice soul charge option. If you soul charge a grade 3 early, you can first try Harmonics and just go to town. If you get it off a Destiny Dealer at grade 1, or even just play it early, great aggression, great removal, and yeah, get that 3 into the soul. Lady Battler of the Gravity Well, help you generate cards and filter cards from your hand early. Then the late game, it sets you up for big unlock plays with Harmonics. And Remarkable Burst Monk for that sick Standing Vanguard luck sack, but at worst, you just counterblast 1 and just get a card off that. For grade 3s, we're running 4 Harmonics, and then only 2 Ghastly Nail. Like, a lot of decks you see are running heaps of Ghastly Nail, but we're only running 2 because our main preferred first ride is Grayon, which brings up the total to get 10 grade 3s, which is nice for your Remarkable Burst Monk. Instead of just running 8, standard 8, you're going to 10. So the question is, why are we running the Deletor engine over just a pure Messiah deck with Ghastly Nail as the backup grade 3? Don't get me wrong, Ghastly Nail is a great card that will help you set up the big plays with Harmonics, as well as getting fat by itself. However, it does require a Soul Blast to use its effect, and early on, it just seems like a waste to Soul Blast for just a hand filter. Apart from that, it gets fat, but that's about it. On the other hand, a Grayon Delete makes your whole front row fat, as well as having on-hit pressure with its bind, which is really important in the current meta, and in my opinion, is way better use of the Soul. If you don't hit, you don't Soul. You don't Soul Blast, so it's like a win-win. The other plus is that it works with Drown. If your opponent commits early, you can use Drown and wipe their field. Sometimes you won't even get the counter charge off, but I think the additional Soul is the most important factor to this. Later on, with enough Soul, you can set up big locked fields of Lady Battlers, Calderon Wing, and Destiny Dealer, and then generate your advantage back there. Also, with a combination of Calderon Wing and Drown, your counterblast situation is way better compared to other clans. With this build, you go Force 1, simply because you don't really hit enough power lines, even with the 15k for Harmonics. Sure, like, yeah, the Harmonics gives a 15k, but the Force 2, although it threatens crit, there's not enough threat from your other lanes. So you can't really force out a lot of guard compared to like another clan which can utilize Force 2 the best, which is Bermuda's in Standard. That's pretty much it. Your matchups should be pretty straightforward against most Excel decks. You just play like normal because you're Force. Protect decks are pretty much in a bad spot at the moment, but OTT, as usual, is probably the strongest one there. But Link Joker decks does have a lot of tools for early aggression now because of this Destiny dealer, and then along with multi-attacking later on, so it won't really be that much of an issue in my opinion. It's kind of like the Great, and you also have removal too, and your removal gets rid of their Promised Daughter, which is absolutely crazy. And then to Force matchups, your worst matchup is Bermuda because they can use Force 2. Any Force deck that can use Force 2 effectively, which right now is just Bermuda, it's going to have a huge advantage over you because you're playing the Force Mirror. Because while you're basically just gaining power from Force 1, they've already gained enough of that power and can just pump crits with Force 2. The reason why Kagura was roughly an even matchup back then was because Kagura can go really aggressive early and close with restands, but now that Bermuda has gotten faster with that Force 2 and can threaten lethal earlier, this strategy isn't as effective anymore, the strategy of being very aggressive early. As there are no Force clans that can go faster than Bermuda, most of the Force clans have to rely on slower and grindier strategies with an emphasis on heavy removal. When you look at Kagura, Blade Master seems really nice, but they also got new removal cards that let them retire too, so you're going to be putting more of that into your deck. Link Joker really doesn't have that kind of mass removal though, so except with like Harmonics, you can try and dig out your deck to get more null guards. That's probably your best play. So basically, if you lose to Bermuda, don't feel that bad. And I guess the other annoying matchup would be Kagura. This will just basically come down to who starts first. You kind of do the same thing. You're both pretty aggressive. You have cards that you can call out early, and you both have removal, except you can remove their Neo Flames permanently, which is good. You also have more draw power, but yeah, it's still a Force 1 mirror. They restand and can get crits easier. So it'll pretty much just come down to the coin flip in my opinion. So that's about it for the deck. Hopefully you can find the new cards fun and interesting. Heroic Evolution singles will be out on WCC TCG Friday morning, so be sure to check that out. There's a lot of ways to build Link Joker now with all these new great cards, so you don't exactly have to go Messiah. I think Deletors is pretty strong with an emphasis on removal, but we can explore that in a later video. So I guess see you then, and bye!